Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about guns and ammunition as a currency, right, for Armageddon. Okay, now we're not talking recession, depression here. We're talking about the apocalypse. Okay, so basically the meteor has fallen, the supervolcano has gone off. We're being invaded by Russia on the east, China on the west. Um, Canada in the north and Mexico in the south, and all this stuff is happening all at once. Basically, the world's gone to shit. Government has collapsed. U.S. dollars are worth nothing. Okay, computers aren't working. No electricity. Everything's broken down. Okay, so a lot. Most of us in the gun community have it in our head that hey, in an apocalypse type of situation, we've got stockpiles of guns and ammunition and we're good. We have a trading commodity to get things that we might need. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce some ideas to you guys to think about, which maybe you haven't thought about, and you guys might suggest some ideas back to me, which perhaps I haven't thought about. Okay, so we're having a discussion here. This information goes both ways. I haven't necessarily thought of any of everything, but I'm gonna give you a couple of ideas to consider. So the first idea that I want you guys to consider, and this is going to be the theme of this video, okay, is that all of us on our side, right, that have guns and ammunition, okay, well, if somebody comes to you, right, and they say, hey, they want to do business with you, and they're offering you guns and ammunition, they're like, I got plenty of guns and ammunition. I need other things, okay? So the people that, for example, you would want to buy, let's say, food from, right, like the farmers, right, or the people that have like fuel, okay, those people all have guns and ammunition, right? All the farmers in this country have guns and ammunition. So you're not going to show up there with a box of ammo and think you got a bar of gold because they've got guns and ammunition, right? So that's something that I think that our side, the gun community, a lot of times does not consider, right? And I'm just putting this out there for you guys to consider. So I have a chart here that we're going to go through, and on this side over here, I have currency, right? I have guns and ammo as a currency. Okay, this isn't the guns and ammo that you're going to be using to defend yourself and your family. This is the extra guns and ammo that you're going to be using to to trade with. Okay, so this is guns and ammo as a currency, and over here I have needs, right? Things that you might need. You might not need all of them, but I'm pretty sure you're going to need at least something on this list. Okay, so and the idea is that we're going to use the guns and ammo from this side over here to buy whatever we're missing from this side over here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is heat. Okay, wherever you heat your home with oil or propane or electricity or firewood. Okay, that's something that you might need. Okay, so the thing to understand is, like, for example, if you got a fireplace and unless you have wood on your own land that you're able to harvest and then you have prepared, if you show up to the lumber yard with guns and ammunition, the guy cutting down, the guy with piles of lumber, he probably already has guns and ammunition. Okay, so which is not to say that he may not buy, he may not be willing to trade guns, lumber for ammo, but it's not going to be as valuable to him as you think it might be. You're showing up with like a box of 9mm and a box of 223, and you think you got like 2 bars of gold here. That's not how he's going to look at it, because he's got thousands of rounds of both. Okay, so that's the first thing to consider with heating yourself. And the same thing goes if you go to the because in my area the oil companies are all privately owned. So when you go to the oil guy, same deal with him, right? He's got guns and ammo. He's not going to be that impressed with your guns and ammo. Okay. Next thing to consider is water. Okay, in my area, we have wells, and the water is pumped up by electricity. So if the electricity stops working, we don't have water. Okay, unless you have a hand pump that you have tested. Okay, because the water is down about 200 plus feet, and getting it up to the surface is not as easy as you might think it is. Okay, So now there's plenty of streams. In fact, I got a stream on my property right here. But the water in the stream needs to be purified. And the easiest way to purify the water in the stream is with heat. You got to boil that water to purify it to kill the parasites. So again, if you don't have heat, you're not going to have water, okay? And now a lot of people in the cities, they think that just because they got free water, that may not necessarily keep working for long. However, the water in New York City, it's basically gravity fed because the reservoirs are high up, so it's gravity fed. So that might be something that the city people might have to offer you. However, the city people are not going to be able to get it to you because they're going to run into some other problems like transportation. They're not going to be able to transport that water. So the people in the cities that might have water to give you, clean water, they don't have a way to get it to you, or you don't have a way to get it from them. Okay, so that's going to be an issue. Okay, so again, they might say, hey, we got something valuable. You think you got something valuable, but there's a transportation issue there. Okay, food. Okay, again, like I said, I think I mentioned it earlier. The farmers that might that you would want to buy food from, right? That have excess food to trade with you. They've got stockpiles of gun and ammunition, right? So you're showing up there with, even if you show up with 1,000 rounds of ammunition, they got 20,000 rounds of ammunition, okay? Farmers shoot on their own land, okay? They've got lots of ammo, so you're not going to impress them with your guns and ammo. So you don't have something that they desperately need in terms of guns and ammunition, okay? And the farmers tend to also work together, so you're not going to steal it from them either, because you're like, well, if you don't sell it to me, I'm just going to take it. Listen, these guys already have a defense plan, okay? So you're not going to rob the farmers, okay? They've already thought about this. They already thought about defending their food, okay, or what they think. Just like you've already thought about defending the things that you think are valuable, they've thought about defending the things that they think are valuable, and they know that the entire world is going to descend upon them for food. So you're gonna, these guys are going to unite like in the thousands to protect that food. Okay, so that's the food. Now let's talk about transportation. A couple of issues with transportation. Basically, people don't realize how quickly vehicles run out of fuel. And especially on the highways, if one car runs out of fuel, and it's, and especially if it ends up in the middle of the road and you got 2 cars and 3 cars, you get a gigantic traffic block. So even though like even today, sometimes you'll have an accident or something, in the Armageddon type of situation, you're going to have literally thousands of cars on the highways that are breaking down, trying to get away from the cities. Okay, so a lot of these cars, they're trying to leave the cities. A lot of them are going to start running out of fuel, start breaking down. So you're going to have literally hundreds of cars breaking down on the highways. So you're going to have an immediate you're going to have an immediate issue where the highways are going to get clogged up. Okay, to the point where it would take weeks to clear them. Okay, and the problem is you can't clear them because the tow trucks and the vehicles that would clear them off the road, they're not running either. So they're gonna stay there until they probably for thousands of years, until they rust into the ground. Okay, so the highways and the roads are going to get clogged up as the vehicles start to run out of fuel. And again, your problem is, even if you're out in the country, you're going to start running out of fuel, and maybe for a couple of weeks you'll have enough, right? Because I got some extra fuel stored up, but that's going to only get me so far, right? Eventually that's going to run out, and my ability to travel is going to be very limited. Okay, and the problem is, as your ability to travel becomes limited, then that also makes it difficult for you to get to other things that you might need, like to get to a farm, or to get to the lumber guy, right? Somebody that might have wood, or get to a water. So as you run out of fuel, that's also going to limit your ability to get to other things. Okay, shelter. Okay, shelter. Especially if you think that you're going to be that you're going to leave your area to go seek shelter somewhere else, right? Because let's say you're in the city, right? And you think, okay, apocalypse comes, I'm going to take my guns and ammo, and I'm going to go use that ammunition to rent some space out in the country. Okay, so again, now you're running into a transportation issue as far as getting there. Okay, and also you're running into an issue that when you get to the countryside, you're going to find that they don't want your ammunition. They don't want you because you're another mouth to feed. Okay, so you think that you might travel to someplace else to get shelter, and that's that's not going to work out the way it did. In fact, I'm thinking about there was that a major hurricane down in like the New Orleans area. I forgot what it was, and what they did is they moved all the people that were without shelter, I think, into a huge stadium. I think it was like a Superdome or something. Okay, so I think the conditions of entering the stadium for shelter was you could not go in with your guns and ammo, right? So nobody was able to go in, from what I recall, right? If I'm wrong, just correct me. But from what I recall, you could not go into the shelter, right? Or you can't, you could not go into the shelter with your guns and ammo. So again, your guns and ammo, you're gonna have to, if that's what you have to do, the price of getting that shelter is that you have to abandon that. Okay, so that's so, and what happened, I think, in the New Orleans case with, I think it was a Superdome, I'm pretty sure it was. People went in there without guns and ammo, and a lot of the women ended up being raped in the bathrooms. Okay, because nobody could defend themselves. Basically, the gangs took over, which is a very natural outcome of an apocalypse. Okay, the most violent criminals are going to basically become the government. Okay, so there's a shelter problem. Even if you're thinking of trying to get to a FEMA camp or something like that, again, they're probably not going to let you go in with your guns and ammo if you can even get there, because you've got the transportation issue. All right, but the guns and ammo may not buy you the shelter that you think you might be able to buy. Okay. Defense. Okay. Now, why do I have defense here as a way? A possible idea is that, hey, I'm only, let's say, a family of 5 or 6. I might need the guns. I might use the ammunition to basically as a way to get other people in my community to maybe come to my house to help me defend my house. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them guns and ammo, right? I got other family members or relatives or neighbors that don't have guns and ammo. I'll invite them over to my shelter, so I'm providing shelter, right? And I'm providing them with the guns and ammunition, and we're going to basically work together for the common defense, right? But the problem is food. How are you going to feed all these extra people? Okay, so one of the issues that you're seeing here is that as you solve one problem, the other problems become bigger. Okay, so that's a problem with defense, right? You might be able to use the guns and ammo for additional defense, as far as being able to bring in more people to help you defend your land, but now you also got to feed those people. Okay. So, and then what happens is those people might get very desperate and they might get very angry with you. And now all of a sudden you're fighting with those people who are trying to take whatever little food you had available, right? They might end up taking it from you. Okay. So that's the problem with defense. Okay. And then finally, medicine and basically doctors. Okay. So, if, another thing that you might need is access to medicines, antibiotics, a doctor, so the idea there is that you would use the guns and ammo to basically bring a doctor or even a nurse or somebody, ideally somebody showing up with a bag of medicine, with antibiotics and stuff like that you might need in the future. And you're like, yeah, sure, I'm going to house this person. I'll defend them, and then they'll take care of me and my family. Well, now you're back to these issues. You got a transportation problem as far as getting them there. You got a food and water problem as far as you gotta feed them while they're there, and then you may end up into a defense problem where now they want to kill you and take your food, because they're when people get really hungry, they get like hunger drives people mad. Okay, so. Couple of things for you guys to think about, right? If your mindset has been, hey, I got guns and ammo, I'm set for the apocalypse, I'll be able to buy whatever I don't have, I'll be able to buy because I got guns and ammo. Just a couple of things for you guys to think about, as far as the wider plan. If I've missed anything, let me know in the comments, because maybe I did. I don't know. So if you guys have any other ideas, love to hear from you guys. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you all soon.